and welcome to this session on Perform Eccentric Turning. Let us begin with the session.
Let us now look at the objectives of the session. At the end of the session, you will be able to mark the eccentric center and circle through the external eccentric diameter, learn eccentric turning. Tools and equipment requirement for this exercise are as follows: lathe, 4-jaw chuck, chuck key, tool post key, taper turning attachment, cutting tools, vernier caliper, steel rule, universal surface gauge, marking media, vernier height gauge, V-block with clamps, center drill, center punch, dot punch, ball peen hammer. When different diameters are turned on different axes, it is said to be eccentric turning. Eccentric turning, also known as offset turning, is a type of lathe operation. It is typically used to machine parts with features that are not concentric to the spindle axis, such as a crankshaft. Through this exercise, let us learn how to perform eccentric turning. Check the raw material size using vernier caliper. Mount the job in an independent 4-jaw chuck with help of a chuck key. Check the trueness of the job using a surface gauge by keeping the maximum length outside the chuck. Face one end of the job. Plane turn to diameter of 80 mm to a maximum length. Chamfer the faced end to 1.5 mm into 45 degree. Reverse the job, hold and throw it. Face the other end of the job. Plane turn the remaining length to 80 mm diameter. Remove the job from the chuck. Clamp the finished turned rod in the V-block with the help of the clamps. Apply marking media to both the end faces of the workpiece. Adjust the height gauge to a length to locate the center of the workpiece. Scribe and mark the concentric center of the workpiece on both the end faces. Add 20 mm to the existing reading and adjust the height gauge to locate the eccentric center. Scribe and mark the eccentric center of the workpiece on both the end faces. Witness mark the concentric and eccentric centers using a center punch and a ball peen hammer. Draw a guide circle of diameter 26 mm with the eccentric center as the center point using a divider. Witness mark the guide circle using dot punch and ball peen hammer. Hold the job in a 4-jaw independent chuck on the turned diameter. True, the concentric center is in line with the lathe center using a universal surface gauge. Open one jaw and tighten the opposite jaw so that the center of the work moves. Repeat the operation till the eccentric center comes in line with the lathe center. Check and true eccentric circle with the help of a universal surface gauge. Now, turn in steps to form an eccentric diameter of 25.4 mm to a length of 25 mm. Chamfer the end face of eccentric diameter to 1 mm into 45 degree. Undercut to a depth of 0.5 mm and width of 3 mm. Remove the excess length of the workpiece by parting if required. Deburr the workpiece using a smooth file. Measure and ensure the diameter 80 mm of 25 mm length using a vernier caliper. Measure and ensure the diameter 25.4 mm of 25 mm length using vernier caliper. Apply a thin coat of oil on the workpiece and preserve it for further inspection. To recap, we have learned to mark the eccentric center and circle, true the external eccentric diameter, learn eccentric turning.
So that's all about performing eccentric turning. See you in the next session.